There are two words that have just completely shifted the way I look at almost every situation. These two words are actually my word of the year. I'll explain that in a moment. But they've opened up all kinds of new possibilities for me. And I'm excited to share them with you today. Welcome to the Affiliate Guy podcast. If you want to grow your income, serve your tribe, and enjoy all the benefits of affiliate marketing and having your own affiliates, you're in the right place. Thanks for joining me today. Now let's get started. This is the last episode that I'm going to do in kind of recapping or sharing takeaways from my trip to Blackberry Farm. And a good place to wrap up is with the last night. We're all together and we shared we shared some of our big takeaways from the week, which I shared one of them in the last episode about, you don't have to be the best, you just have to be someone's favorite. But one of the things that we did as a group was we shared our word of the year. If we had to pick one word for the rest of the year, what would it be? And there were some really cool words. There's some really cool. I won't share who said each of them because this was a private, event. But there's some really cool words. One of them was pruning. Talked about pruning things away, pruning responsibilities and tasks and really refining what this person does. Another one, their word was big. Just go big. One of my favorites was unreasonable. Which kind of ties into my word, although it's two words. I'll explain why in a moment. And that was unreasonable. It's unreasonable to think that you can do this, this, and this. We're going to do it anyway. It's unreasonable to think that you can take a month off and your business could actually grow. It's unreasonable to think that you could do a $5 million launch. It's unreasonable to think that you could have this sort of an impact. It was really cool to hear that from the person I heard it from. It was just like a lot of respect for this person, even more so than I already had. Well, the thing about me, though, is, and I was like the sixth person to go out of 12, actually out of 13. Because it wasn't just me and Amy Porterfield, Jeff Walker, and Michael Hyatt. Our spouses were there. A couple people on Michael's team and their spouses were there. There was one other person there as well on this trip. And so there's 13 people, and I was like the sixth person to go. And everybody up to that point had done one word. Because they asked for a word. Well, I've always looked at rules more like suggestions. Earlier that day, there's this bridge that you cross over. It crosses over this beautiful stream. It's a covered bridge, and it's really cool. And there's a sign that says, don't cross, basically. And I'm like, well, that's the only way to get across to I'm in, gym shoes. I'm not going through the stream, and I'm not going all the way back down to where we started just to get to the other side to then come back down to this point. And there was this other couple there that we had gotten to know over the course of the week. They're from Fort Worth, Texas, and they're just their trip. And and I like the both of the females. And this is not a male or female thing. This is just, it happened to be the male and the female. They're like, no, the sign says you can't cross. And me and the guy, Stanley, look at each other. And we're like, yeah, that's a suggestion. So we cross the bridge, climb over the rail that's there to block you. And, we go to the other side. They were coming one way and we were going the other. And so then Tara followed suit and so did his wife. And it was just this moment where I was like, yeah, it's a suggestion. Now I get it. Don't touch, biohazard. Okay, got it. But it's a covered bridge. Worst case is I fall in, and I don't know, I may die. But yeah, it was a suggestion, right? And so I'm thinking about this. Okay, what is my word? And I have a word, but it's not the word. And so I say, I hate to be the one, but I've got to break the rule. My word is what if. Now, ironically enough, I think, like I said, I was like the sixth person to go. Of the next 7, like 4 of them had 2 words. Sometimes we need that permission. I don't. I just take that permission. But I said it's what if. Because there are so many times in my business, and I think we all do this, there's so many times in our lives where we say things like, well, that'll never happen. Or we find reasons why we can't. And we think about the fact that that's never going to happen. We're not going to be able to do that. Instead of asking, what if I could? Just what if? And so I think what it does is when we take our mindset from I can't do that to what if I could, we start to look for solutions. We start to look for ways to make things happen that we didn't even know were possible. And so one of my big things, they asked, one of the questions that we discussed as a group is, what are you most excited about in the next year? And my number one thing is I'm excited to continue coaching our daughter. I've mentioned this before. I've got like 3 years where I can coach her in soccer before she's so good, because she's already so good, before she's so good that she's going to have to, I'm just not going to be a good enough coach for her. And then I'm excited that our son's starting. He's 3 and he's been wanting to play for more than a year now. He finally gets to start, and I'm just so excited about that, about the family side. But I'm also excited about taking a month off in January. And we're going to go probably down to the Gulf Coast of Florida. And I'm not taking the computer. And I'm not working at all. And it's like, well, I can find a million reasons why that can't happen. But what if? What if it did happen? Let's look at, first of all, from a what if standpoint. What if I did that? What bad could go wrong? Well, it's a lot smaller than I think. There's nothing that could go wrong that would cost our business more than $5,000 or $10,000. Just not. And what if I did? What would it do for the team? Rather than them feel like I'm abandoning them, wouldn't they just feel more empowered? And so I started thinking through this, and I'm like, okay, that's going to happen. And then I started applying this what if to just tons of situations. What if we did actually bring on a client? And what if we charged them this? And what if we explained to them, this is why we charge this? And what if we made 5 times more than we've ever made from a client? What would that do? And I just started asking what if to every situation. Completely transform my outlook, and I believe it's going to completely transform our business. So maybe that's not your big word or words, but I would encourage you to ask that question. What if? Everything. What if you took off work at 5 o'clock today? Okay, let's say you work for somebody. What if you asked your boss to leave a half hour early? Or you don't work for somebody? What if you just set a hard deadline of 5 o'clock? What if? What would happen? What would not get done? Would that be that big of a deal? Maybe. What if you turned your computer and your phone off all weekend? What if? What would happen? What would it do? What if you launched your course in July? What if you sent that extra email in your affiliate promotion? If you just start thinking of those things and go, okay, what if I actually did that? And tie that in maybe to that unreasonable word. What if I did this? It seems unreasonable. What if I set a goal to make $100,000 for my business this year? What if I set a goal to make $1 million? What if I set a goal to make $5 million? What would it make possible? So I encourage you to think through that. Stop saying that you can't do stuff. Stop saying that things are impossible. Stop saying and thinking of reasons why you can't, and just ask what if. So do what you will with that. I know it was huge for me. It was a huge breakthrough for me that I wanted to share with you. And that's our last episode in these takeaways from Blackberry Farm. Well, actually, I say that, but the reality is I'm going to have lessons for life. So I'm going to be sharing things that tie back to this for probably 10 years. It was an amazing experience. I'm glad I got to be a part of that. And with that, I will wrap up, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening today. Remember to check out all of our deep dives into affiliate marketing at theaffiliateguy.tv. And if you have a question, you can ask it at asktheaffiliateguy.com. Who knows, might end up being featured on this podcast.